We'll start with chanting Om 3 times, followed by the invocation mantras. Sorry. ॐ सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. Hey everyone, good morning. We will start with our Gita Panchamritam Shloka chanting. So as we are covering we just started chapter 9, Raja Vidya, Raja Gupya Yoga. So as I mentioned last week, this is a continuation of Jnana Vijnana Yoga, which is chapter 7. I told you how it is linked to both chapter 7 and chapter 8. That from a concepts wise, it is linked to chapter 8. It is just that chapter 8 is almost like a detour because Arjuna had some questions about what Bhagavan is talking about. Okay, that is why it is linked to chapter 7, but also it is linked to chapter 8 because what Bhagavan showed in chapter 8 is that there are two different paths are there, right? The Uttarayana Marga and Dakshinayana Marga. One takes you and doesn't bring, that is Anavritti, so then there's path of no return. Other is Avritti, path of return. Now both of them, I mean like a person may eventually get moksha, okay, in both of them. But once you come back, after a long time, like I mean after like a few more janmas or few hundreds of thousands of more janmas, there will be a time when you think that, okay, it is better for me to not to come back and put effort for that. And other possibility is that when with a krama mukti, you will eventually get mukti. But here what Bhagavan is saying is that, see, idam tu means but, okay? But means what? Differentiator. A differentiator in the very first sloka, the second word is idam and the second word is tu. Tu means but. On the other hand, okay, what I am going to teach is not going to make you wait for the eons or several births. This I am going to teach in such a manner that you have both jnana and vijnana. Okay? And this is knowing this, what is the benefit for me? The benefit is that you going to get moksha. So moksha is freedom, liberation. Liberation from what? Okay, because sometimes people say that nowadays when people get divorced, they celebrate saying, that it is their liberation day, etc. Right? So what kind of liberation is this one? This is liberation from Ashubha. Ashubhat means whatever is not good for us, okay? Inauspicious. What is not good for us? What is fundamental inauspiciousness? This Maya is inauspicious. Why are we calling it as inauspicious? Because it is always changing, and in a change, there is a birth, there is a growth, there's a decay, and there's a death. It could be in terms of relationships also. It could be in terms of we're not talking about death. Doesn't necessarily mean physical death. That is also included, yes, but also you see, like uh, our childhood friends. Okay, what is our status with them as of today? Maybe like you're managing one you may have contact with a couple of them, but not necessarily with everyone. So that means that those relationships are dead. Like with our ex-colleagues, 2 months after, I mean, like when there was a farewell party, in case if there's a farewell party, we say like, oh, we'll keep in touch and we exchange phone numbers, and after they quit or they move on, we rarely call them. So what is happening is this death is there in terms of every aspect. So because there's a death, you need to continually reprogram your mind all the time to adapt to the newer environment, adapt to something new which you don't know before. Anything that is unknown is fearsome. And that fear is what causes you anxiety and all of those, right? So now moksha se ashubhat means there is a perfect liberation from all of this. Okay, so that is what Bhagavan is talking about. And then this is not just about, from this world or that world or anything like that. It is like a permanent liberation, right? So this is what I am going to give. That is what Bhagavan said. Good. So Bhagavan is teaching that you are anasuya. That's another word. Anasuya. This also we talked about. Asuya means jealousy. Jealousy means what we said last time, I mean, even though I said last week, right? Jealousy means that I'm unhappy that someone else is better than me in some means. But that means what? When I am, what is the root cause of the jealousy? Jealousy, what it is bringing is to me is there is a blemish where not in the other person, in my own personality, there is a blemish because of which a blemish, or you can call it as a gap, okay, a gap or a what's it called, like weakness, because of which I cannot reach what the other person has attained. That is what is causing me jealousy. So that means when the moment I see that I am jealous of someone, the way I should understand is that there is some weakness in me. So that is what is causing asuya. Now, unasuya means what? I never have any jealousy for anything. If I don't have any jealousy for anything, that means what? I am self-sufficient. I am very happy with me. I don't see any character flaws in me. Okay? Whether I see a rich person, whether I see a healthy person, or whether I see a handsome person, whatever, like a high in society, high in power, whichever way, whatever manner, whenever I see some other person, if I'm not feeling jealousy, that means what? It is indicating that my character is flawless. My character is flawless in the sense like I am happy with where I am. And that is what Bhagavan is saying, like, you don't have any jealousy. Okay, so now that means what? You need to understand. And this is the Anasuya way. This is a kind of like a pre-qualification. That means what? When you think that you have a hole in your character, in your personality, and you're trying to understand this high level of spiritual knowledge, what happens? In your own mind, there'll be a doubt. What's the doubt? Am I eligible, really eligible for this? Okay. Am I really fit for this? I think I'm a poser. Okay. I'm just here, but I'm not really. So then this kind of a thought will come. So that is why uh, we should not have that jealousy, that thing. Okay? Be happy with whatever you have, wherever you are. And see, the thing is that unless you are a jnani, here is a catch-22 situation. Unless you're a jnani, you can't have perfection. So if you don't have any perfection, how can you be content? So there comes the two aspect, I mean like two-pronged approach, faith and surrender. I'm surrendering to the Lord that He will help me out. Okay. On my own, see, the thing is that on my own, I won't be able to reach the destination. But He is going to guide me. He is going to take me wherever I should end up. He knows better than me. So there is a surrenderness and there is a faith. These two together, when they are there, then these asuyas, etc., don't really matter. Okay? With that attitude, with that faith, we should move forward. Okay, so I'll pause here to see if any of you have got any questions around this. No questions? So we'll go to verse number 2. I'll break down the words Raja and Vidya. Together becomes Raja Vidya. Raja Guhyam. Okay, the two words again. Raja and Guhyam. Raja Guhyam. Pavitramidam Uttamam. The three words in there. Pavitram, Idam, Uttamam. Together become Pavitram, Idam. Pavitram and Idam become Pavitramidam. Idam and Uttamam become Idam Uttamam. So the whole word is Pavitramidam Uttamam. Pratyakshaavagamam. Okay. Pratyaksha and Avagamam. Okay, two words. Sorry, Avagamam. Pratyaksha and Avagamam together becomes Pratyakshaavagamam. Dharmyam. Sukham. Kartum avyayam. That is Kartum and Avyayam. Together is Kartum avyayam. Now we will chant the shloka. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam.
राजविद्या राजगुह्यं
Pavitramidamuttamam.
पवित्रमिदमुत्तमं
Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam.
प्रत्यक्षावगमं धर्म्यं
Susukham kartumavyayam.
सुखं कर्तुमव्ययं
Susukham.
सुसुखं कर्तुमव्ययम्.
So now this, so the purpose of this shloka is to tell you what is the glory of what Bhagavan is going to tell you. Okay, so in this chapter essentially, what Bhagavan is going to teach, that glory of this chapter is being described. In the previous shloka, what is it like? What is the benefit? Okay, who is the adhikari? Okay, what is the subject? Subject is this internal knowledge, okay, and benefit is we'll get moksha, and adhikari, like eligibility, is come with pure mind, okay, free of jealousy, right? Then that means what? Free of character flaws, which means free surrendering to God and faith. With that, you should come. Those are the things that are told in the last shloka. In here, the Mahatmya or the glory of this knowledge is being told. Raja Vidya. Raja Vidya means I mistakenly used to understand it as Raja Vidya means a Vidya that need to be learned by a Raja. So that means a king is going to rule the kingdom. So he needs to understand, the sociology and administration, war, and all of those. So that is the Raja Vidya. That was my mistaken notion. Now, what exactly is Raja Vidya then? That means among the Vidyas, it is Raja. So that means it is not knowledge to be learned by kings, rather it is king of all knowledges. So king of all knowledge is, that means what? Whatever knowledge you are learning are meant to finally help this knowledge. How? In Bhajagovindam, there is like a series of first 3 or 4 shlokas or something like that. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Modhamate Samsare, sorry, Samprapte Sanihide Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshate Drupling Karanya. So that means that Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya is telling an old person, don't do a rut of this grammar, Sanskrit grammar, you fool, because this knowledge of this grammar is not going to help you from salvation. But does it mean knowledge of grammar is not needed? Of course, it is needed because this is shloka. That shloka is written in Sanskritam. So that means that following the rules of grammar. So how can you call this shloka is meaningless? No, it is meaningful. For what? So that means that what, like, so for example, like if we look at our own life, what we would say, oh, my education, okay, no, I need to get into engineering. If I get into engineering or medicine, what is the thing? Oh, my life will be all set. So that means the purpose of learning this is to serve something else. What is it? For sake of earning money. Now, you just graduated, got a job. What are your parents going to say? Okay. Now they are asking. Earlier, they would have told you, son, you are of ripe age to get married. So get married and have. So, so what is the purpose? The purpose of this job is to get married. Get married means what? Like it's not necessarily getting married, but it is to fulfill your other desires. Okay, Indriya Sukha. Okay. So that means Indriyas means it could be Sukha of your like you want to watch movies, you want to travel, you want to do whatever sukhas that you want to experience. To fulfill the kama, this artha is used. To get to that artha means wealth. Okay, your education was used. Now this kama, why are you trying to fulfill this kama? Because I want to be happy. So this education was meant for earning money to make you get calm, fulfill your desires. Now the question is that this karma, like what we are seeing is that our experience is that whatever karma that we fulfill, is it completely satisfying me? Whatever desire that has been fulfilled, after that again there is that gap is there in my head. Okay, that I need something else. I need something more different. Yeah. So today, a new movie is released in a theater. So some Indian movie with big actor and big name and big talk. And you want to go, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. On the very first day itself, or like, I want to see as soon as possible. You went, you watched, you came. Now, can I say like, okay, I have watched it, okay, my life is complete? No, I cannot say that. So that means what happened is that every knowledge which has helped me to earn money, whether it's like a medicine, knowledge of medicine, or whether it's a knowledge of engineering or law or whatever job, which have helped me to get whatever job, which is helping me to fulfill all my desires, are failing in terms of satisfying all my desires. So what I need to do is my final goal is what? I want to fulfill all my desires where there is no more desire. Okay. Where there's no more desire left means what? Okay. I am eternally happy that I don't require anything anymore in any manner. That is what we call as moksha. So all the things that we talked about were about, like, we say four purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. All of them were serving kama only. To serve kama, we needed artha. Kama means desire, okay, for desire fulfillments. And artha means wealth. Wealth is a means to fulfill our needs or desires. So they're all like, and you probably are following dharma. So they're all like, within the first three realms of these first three purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, dharma, artha, kama. That's all. Okay. Sometimes we may even do adharma also. Okay. But our life is all running around this artha, kama, artha, kama, artha, kama. So now to get to this moksha, if I get to this moksha, I don't have any more desire, so I need any money. I don't need to worry about dharma or adharma also, because now I have attained my final goal. And this knowledge, this Raja Vidya, this is the knowledge by which you will get to this final goal. So any other knowledge that you learned is meant to serve this knowledge. That means what? I need to get to moksha. Just by having this knowledge, I may not gain moksha because I need to still survive. So I still probably need to work. For what? With my keeping my eye on my final goal, moksha. Okay. So this is a means for fulfillment of to fulfill the needs of this body. While the needs of the body are being fulfilled, I want to focus on my moksha. So as a result, what happened is that this knowledges that we talked about, right? So far we're talking about there are two categories of knowledge. One is called as aparavidya and other is called paravidya. Para means higher, apara means not higher. Okay. Para means final, apara means not final. So this knowledge is paravidya. Now, what does this knowledge do? It will take me out of my limited understanding of me as this body. Okay. And once I understand what is my true nature, it takes me out of my samsara. Okay. And knowing this vidya, I will know everything. Okay. Know everything is what? That this world is mithya. And then knowing this, I won't forget. Okay? Where aparavidya will keep me in ahankara. What do you mean by aparavidya will keep me in ahankara? You graduated from engineering school. They gave you a degree. So, so what do you identify as? I'm Venkat, mechanical engineer. I'm Venkat, electrical engineer. Means what? I added ahankara to myself more that I am electrical engineer, I am software engineer, like that. Okay. So what dapat aparavidya is keeping me in ahankara only, ahankara only, ahankara only. And that ahankara, like, okay, I'm an electrical engineer. So the moment I identify myself as an electrical engineer, any problem looks like electrical problem to me. Okay. So someone buys a new car and I look at it and say, how are the electrical system in here? Okay. How did they okay. Or nowadays, if it is software engineer, right? Okay. How much software is in this car? Okay. What all it can do? What software features are there? Capabilities are there? That's all like my thoughts are. But if my specialization is in tires, okay, the moment you guys come to my home, I say, hey, Bharat, looks like your front passenger tire is little bit lower on. Okay, so you need to put more pressure. So like I look everything in that. So that way, what happens is that this is binding me and keeping me in samsara in that specific to the domain, and I cannot and I will forget my true nature. Paravidya, what it is doing is telling, "Oh, you're not neither engineer nor a doctor. Not because you haven't studied, okay? Not because you're a dud, no, not that way. Okay? That is a knowledge that is there at the subtle level. Okay? For the subtle body. This mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara are there, right? That's all it is. Okay. So education, right? So for example, I am a doctor. Okay. What does that mean? I am a doctor. That means I went to 4 years of, right, sorry, maybe 6 years of medical school. How many years of medical school, followed by this. And at each of these places, what happened? I learned new things and I stored it in my memory. So I put my mind and I understood through my intellect and I stored it in my memories. Mana, buddhi, chitta. And I decided, and I have a feeling that I am a doctor. Ahankara. So mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, that's all it is, right? I mean, everything, whether I'm a doctor, I'm a whatever, that's all happening within this level of mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara alone. Okay? But you are independent of this mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Hence, get out of this and disassociate yourself with these lower things and find your true nature. Okay? So that is why it is Raja Vidya. This is the this is the Paravidya. Okay? And this is also Rajaguhyam. Now, Guhyam means secret. That means what? Rajaguhyam means a secret only kings would know. That's one way to understand. But the reality is, it is the among the secrets, it is like a king. That means it is the greatest secret. Okay. Among all secrets, it is greatest secret. What do you mean by greatest secret? Greatest secret is something that even if I tell you, you won't get it. Okay. Because it can be in open, but you won't understand, you won't get it. So it will remain hidden in plain sight. So in chapter 7, actually in chapter 2, Bhagavan says, Ascharyavat paschati kaschidенam Ascharyavat vadati tadhaiva chanya Ascharyavat chainam anya shrunoti shrutvapi enam vedana cha eva kaschit. So that means someone is speaking about this Vedanta in with wonder. Other one is listening about it in wonder. Someone is seeing it as wonder. But even after hearing, nobody understands it at all. Now, that's again, that shloka, when you hear, like, okay, what is the point of kind of listening to this? uh, Satsangs and all of that. Okay, that's how you feel like, you feel like very, what you call, demoralized if you don't understand it in a proper manner. Yeah. No matter what you hear, no matter what you see, you cannot understand. That means what? The nature of Atma is beyond the scope of our mind and intellect. Our mind and intellect and late and at a further lower level, all our jnanendriyas, organs of perception, etc., they all work in the presence of that consciousness. They are all the objects of the consciousness. The consciousness is the subject, and the objects cannot know subject. But then what is the point in that? That is that you will so understanding will be at a much higher level beyond your the organs of perception, meaning beyond your jnanendriyas, beyond your mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, at at a much deeper core level, you understand. Okay, so just like you know you exist, you don't need your mind to think and say, like, yeah, do I exist or don't I? Let me understand. I am here, so I should exist, right? That kind of questioning is not needed. Like you inherently, instinctively know that you exist. So that existence, for you to understand, for you to experience your existence, you don't need your mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. You don't need your jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, any of those. You know that. Okay. So this knowledge is also going at such a deeper level. That is why it is Rajaguhyam. Idam Uttamam Pavitram. Pavitram means what? Pavitra means purifiers. Okay. Purity, purifier. So, for example, how do we purify stuff? We, in some cases, we purify certain things by washing them. Okay. In some cases, we purify certain things by putting them in fire. Okay. So we say that sun is also purifier. Okay. Vayu, the air is also purifier because see, like you want the like when you have like when you're stuck in the house, especially like in New England environment throughout the winter, as soon as the spring comes, you want to go out and breathe fresh air. That's the ideal situation. Okay. What is a realistic situation? Probably because there's so much pollen in the air, you may want to take your inhaler too, depending on the number of allergies you have. But the thing is that air is also purified. So these are all the purifiers. But these are the purifiers in different ways. Now, what are the purifiers for our own Atma? Vedas are purifiers because listening to Vedas, and basically Vedanta is part of Vedas, right? You understand what is your true nature. Karma is also purifier because by performing karma yoga, you purify your mind. Upasana is also purifier. Tapas is also purifier. So like that, these are all the purifiers. So now one thing is that in these purifiers, okay, there are two types of purifiers. The purifiers that purify your us are two categories. What happens? Say, for example, I do tapas or I do upasana, etc. What happens is there a benefit? Of course, yes. What do they do? They will remove papa. Papa means my sins. Now, when my sins are removed from my antakarana, my inner self, what happens? What remains? I have punya, merits. Now, with that, I go to Swargaloka or Brahmaloka, whatever. And then what? When it is done, I come back. So, so what happened is that those purifiers helped me to remove some papa, and then, but also punya is also exhausted. I'm back to square one. Now, this is a greatest purifier. Okay. Idam uttamam pavitram. Okay. So, what is the greatest sin? What is the greatest purifier? Is once it starts acting, there is no, you can't do any more papa anymore. What do you mean? All other purifiers will remove the sins. But this, on the other hand, this knowledge is going to remove the sinner himself. Okay? When there is no sinner, where is the question of sin? See, even in our legal system, what happens is there is in many states we have three strikes law, right? Okay, if you get caught three times, third time you are going to go to jail, something like that. Okay, first time there can be an exception, second time there can be exemption, third time there could be it is strike three, you are in jail. Now, this criminal is doing crime after crime, crime after crime. For each crime, he is put in jail for a year, 2 years, 3 years, like that. Then he committed a bigger crime. What? Maybe like double murder or something like that. Okay, first degree. Then what is the state going to do? They're going to give the greatest of all punishments. Okay? And that is death, execute him. Why that is given? Because once that is given, he is not there. Then there is no crime. Then there's no possibility of him doing the crime. So the same model applies here too. Okay. All other purifiers are purifying our sins. Okay. You made 10 sins today. Okay. Let us clean this 10 sins. But tomorrow again is another day. But here, what this is doing is, why are you doing all these sins or whatever, right? All of these are done because there is sense of individuality. So when that sense of individuality itself is removed, then there is no you anymore. What is remaining is Brahman alone. And once there is Brahman alone and there is no individuality, where is the question of sin? Or where is the question of merit either? There's no merit, there's no sin, there's no punya, there's no papa, because your individuality has merged. I mean, like, it is not merged, but it has realized its oneness with Brahman, and then there's no more individuality left. So that is what this does. So that means it is giving you the final moksha, pratyaksha. Okay, avagamyati anena iti avagamam. So pratyaksha avagamam. Avagamam means the means of this knowledge, okay, through which we comprehend. Okay, so it is giving the means of knowledge also. Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means it is very direct. Okay? So now it is directly experienced. It is so direct that you don't need your indriyas, you don't need your manas, buddhi, etc. Okay, so focus on experience as a direct experience. That is what like I'm going to teach. So this is what so the greatness of this thing, right? So Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Dharmyam. Dharmyam means now this is the one that is being taught is dharma. Now, dharma sometimes means like, oh, so that means that it is according to some laws, some rules, etc. No, 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 no. Here, dharma is person is a personified dharma which doesn't require any effort. So it is dharma is like a characteristic, not as right. Okay, in Sanskritam, dharma is also like for example, how do I give an example? Let me. Dharma also has another meaning called property. Okay. So how does salt taste? Salty. Right? Salt is salty. Now the question is that does salt have to put an effort to taste as salty? No. Okay. By nature, Its nature is saltiness. Okay. Whatever the taste of it, that is what we call as salt. Right? So that saltiness is its nature. So it is going to taste salt only. Okay. It doesn't have to put any effort. So why? Because it is saltiness is the dharma of salt. Okay. Similarly, sweetness is the dharma of sugar. Okay. Now you take water. What is the property of water? It is coolness. Now, wait a minute. We can have hot water too. Yes. But you may heat. So to get to the hot water, we may have to heat the water, and then the water is hot. But then when normal temperature comes, I mean like after like 10 minutes later, it will come back to its normal temperature. So the coolness is a property of. So what happened for it to for us to heat water, we have to put an effort. For it to cool and stay cool, there was no effort required. Okay, so dharmyam is where it is your person, your core personality, which is the source of all dharma, for which you really don't need to do anything as in you just need to be. Okay. For that jnani, for a jnani who's established knowledge, all the things he does or she does are all dharmic only. Why? Because he doesn't put any effort. Whatever is done are dharmic efforts only. In my case, what is happening is that I know automatically know what is to be done rightly, but there is some filter coming in play. And that filter is what? My likes or dislikes, my preferences, okay, my choices. I want to get some, I have an ultimate goal, okay, of getting something done. And if this gets done in the right way, I won't be get to my ultimate goal. So because of these additional filters and layers that are there, my actions are not necessarily dharmic. Okay. So when this Rajavidya Rajaguhyam is talking about, that is my ultimate dharma that is inside in me. And that is susukham kartam. Okay. And because it is core essential nature of ourselves, it should be very easy. Sukham is easy. Susukham is easiest of easy. Okay. Kartum means to practice. Okay. So there's no level of effort required at the level of body or mind and senses. Okay. Thus, uh, this is my true nature. What is the caveat? For me to get to this state, okay, what is the prerequisite he said? Anasuyave. Okay, I had to have no asuya. That means no jealousy. No jealousy means what we did say? No character flaws. How will you have no character flaws? Through surrenderness and faith. So I had to prepare myself to have surrenderness and faith. Like every ad, okay, especially if you see on TV, right? There'll be some spring air, something like that, some ethereal looking thing is shown, and someone suddenly coughs, and then, or whatever, right? A rash or something, and they tell you some medication that you never heard about and how it is going to solve. And then suddenly, and just like everything is going very smoothly, and suddenly, like the voice sounds like very robotic and it goes around speaking 200 words per minute speed about all the things that need to be worried about, right? Or in the print media, you see like this huge big ad with size 72 font, and somewhere under there, there's a four point size, four size font where it says all the, a small print. Okay. So what is a small print here? It's all easy, yes. Okay. We need to prepare ourselves. How do we prepare ourselves? By having Shraddha, by having faith, by having surrenderness to the God. And then what is the result? Avyayam. Avyayam means gaining this. Vyaya means expenditure. Okay, expense. So what happens? I got my pay, okay, deposited into my bank account on 1st and 15th. But when I go to on 30th, again, it is near zero. What happened? Whatever has come has been spent. In this case, it is avyayam. So vyayam is spending. Avyayam means it only comes, it won't go. Okay, that means that it will stay forever. So that is imperishable. This knowledge is imperishable. That is what the meaning is. So I'll pause here to see if you have any questions or comments on what you heard on this shloka. So here, the second shloka, what did it say? It talked about the glory of this Vidya, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. It is knowledge of high level knowledge, and it is a secret of all secrets, and it is a pavitram idam uttamam. It's the greatest purifier. Pratyaksha means that it is a direct experience. You can experience it directly. Dharmyam, because it is your own true nature. Susukham, it is very easy. Sukham kartum, it is very easy to perform, and it is avyayam, it is imperishable. Now, no, okay, I get it. But Bhagwan, I'm not interested in it. Okay. You say you sell me too many things. Just like, when you go to market, there are so many vendors. Everybody's talking, right? Come here, take this, take this. Like, but you're also selling me all of this, but like, I'm not keen on it. What if I don't get it? Well, what if you don't want it? Sure. Let me answer that. That's what Bhagwan says, and he answers. He says the third shloka. So let me break down the words of the third shloka. Ashraddha dhanaha, ashraddha dhanaha. So that's actually a single word. Ashraddha dhanaha, purusha, purushaha actually, but when we're chanting, purushaha will, that visarga will go because of the sandhi. Dharmasyasya, dharmasya and asya together become dharmasyasya. Parantapa. Aprapya mam nivartante. One word. Nivartante is also one word. Mrityu samsara vartmani. So there are three components. Mrityu, samsara, and vartmani. Yes, Bharat?
No, nothing, Venkat.
Oh, okay. I thought like you. Okay. So let us chant. Ashraddhadhana purushaha
अश्रद्धदानाः पुरुषाः
dharmasyasya parantapa
धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप
aprapya mam nivartante
अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते
mrityu samsara vartmani.
मृत्युसंसारवर्त्म्यनि.
So now, as I said, what is the purpose of this shloka? This is easy to learn, this Raja Vidya. Okay. Now, in case if you don't learn, what are you going to, what is the impact? That is what is being described in this shloka. Ashraddhadhanaha purushaha dharmasya asya parantapa. So asya, so let us, because in Sanskritam, the words in Sanskritam, what happens is that you can arrange in any way and it has same meaning. Okay? If Okay, so that means, let us say, in English, Rama killed Ravana. Simple example. Now, if you jumble those words and say, if you replace the order Ravana and Rama, then what happens? The meaning changes. Right? It's completely different meaning. But in Sanskritam, it is not like that. Ramaha, not Ramaha, Ramaha, Ravanam, Hanti. That's it. Now, Ramaha is one word, Ravanam is another word, Hanti is another word. Okay. So then you say Ravanam, Ramaha, Hanti. Meaning doesn't change. Hanti, Ramaha, Ravanam. Meaning doesn't change. Hanti, Ramaha, Ravanam. Meaning doesn't change. So whichever way you jumble, the meaning doesn't change. That's the greatness of our Indian language. And greatness means that is because of what we sorry, John, Jay, you won't be able to understand what I'm saying. Is that this particular portion is in our Indian language we have something called as vibhaktis. Okay, because of that vibhaktis, the uh, order really doesn't matter. So, for example, I'll use because other than J, everyone can understand. Actually, Puru also. Uh, actually, Puru, right? Okay, so you all understand Hindi, right? Pawan, Bharat. Okay. राम ने रावण को मारा. So Ram or Ne together becomes Ram Ne or Ram Ravan Ko. Okay. So now, as long as you put Ram Ne, Ne becomes Vibhakti for Ram. Okay. So Ram Ne Ravan Ko Mara. Yeah, Ravan Ko Ram Ne Mara. Mara Ram Ne Ravan Ko. In whichever way you put, the meaning is not changing. Or in Telugu, if you say Ramudu Ravananni Champenu. Ravanuni Ramudu Champenu. Champenu Ramudu Ravanani. Ravan. Okay. Ramudu Champenu Ravanani. In whichever order you put, because of that vibhakti, right? Ramudu. Do is what in Telugu at least? Dumuvulu Prathama Vibhakti. Okay. That Prathama Vibhakti indicates Karta. Okay. Ni is Dvitiya Vibhakti. Ninnullan Kurchi Gurinchi. Okay, that is karma, the object. Okay, like that. Okay, so because of that, because of the vibhakti, they won't change. Now, why am I saying all of this is? Because ashtadhana purusha dharmasya asya parantapa. So here, so for the sake of grammar, they, for the sake of, to keep the rules of the Sanskrit grammar when writing the shloka, sometimes they change the order in which these words are there. And just because you jumbled the words in a different order doesn't mean that the meaning has changed. So here, that's why we are saying Ashtadhana Purusha Dharmasya Asya. So we are starting with the fourth word and then coming back to the first word. Okay, that's why. Okay, Asya. Asya means whatever has been said. Whatever has been said so far, what? It is about the jnana in the second shloka. Dharmasya, Asya Dharmasya. Okay, this Brahma Jnana. Okay, what is the topic that we are going to learn? Brahma Jnana, knowledge of Brahman. Okay, knowing this Brahma Jnana, okay, what happens is this Dharmasya means what is happening is that your entire Shastra, Purushartha, Jivana Vidhana, all of them can be upheld. Okay, because of which moksha is possible. Means what? See, we all have a Purusharthas are there. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, we said. So, what does it mean? Dharma should be my like sticking to my true real nature, not like, my vasanas. Okay? True real nature, I should try to get to moksha. Final point. Okay? However, in the process of getting to moksha, I have some, requirements, minimal needs are there. Okay? That is, how do I live life? Okay, how do I take care of the family, etc. All of those. So that means some necessities, needs called kamas are there. To take care of those, I need artha. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Now, if I forget my final goal, what happens is that I get stuck here. So if I hold on to this, understand my true nature and my final goal, and so what happens is that I can follow all of this properly and get here. Okay, dharma to artha, kama to moksha. So that means what? How am I living? Our life is based upon what? Ashrama sthiti. Ashrama means what are talking about? We have four stages of life. What are those? Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. When it is Brahmacharya, be Brahmachari alone. Don't try to be Grihastha. Okay, that means what? When you're in studying, study alone. Don't don't fall in love and all of those while studying. Why? Because the focus of your study is going to be disturbed. Okay. Don't try to earn money and do all of that. Okay. Why? Because the focus of your studies is going to be disturbed. So in our educational system, we used to have gurukulas outside of the town, okay, outside of the village, where the children are not disturbed with anything else but education, okay, only focused on education. That was okay. Once you go to Grihastha Ashrama, focus on earning money for right reasons without forgetting your final goal of moksha. And and as a Grihastha, you need to take care of brahmacharis as well as vanaprasthis, as well as sannyasis. So then this grihastha ashrama becomes a karma yoga, where you're performing karma yoga. And then once your kids are married and like, okay, your responsibilities are done, you are vanaprasthi. Vanaprasthi means what? You are taking a step back, and then your more focus is on moksha and very limited focus on day-to-day activities. And eventually, like when your responsibilities are all done, you become a sannyasi. Okay, so mentally give up everything and focus wholly on God. So this is all. So what has happened is this Jivana Vidhana, this ashrama dharma is maintained once you understand what is your ultimate goal. So if you know this knowledge, this living according to dharma becomes much, much more easier. Okay, so that's what this asya dharmasya. So actually, like it is a little past 10 a.m. So shall we pause here and because this shloka is going to take a little bit more time. So shall we continue in next session? Any questions before we close?
The knowledge is not revealed yet. He's just building the stage, is what it is, right?
Sorry?
The highest knowledge, what is that, is not revealed yet. It's still a secret so far.
It is, yeah, it comes in
Just
fourth
setting the
and fifth
stage.
shlokas. Okay, fourth and fifth shlokas are going to take a little bit, what do you call it?
Okay.
What
Because
do
I'm
you
just
call it? In cricket, I think they call a googly ball or something like that.
yeah.
Okay.
Because he says it's the highest, this is a secret and the highest knowledge and all that. So
Yeah.
I'm curious,
So
what is that?
understanding those two shlokas will take a little bit extra time.
Okay.
So.
Sure. Thanks.
Om. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ